Play on America!
Not all Muslims have the internet. Only the wealthiest, most influential, most powerful Muslims in the world have access to the internet. That's you. If you're a Muslim and you're online, you are the force. What we'd say the force for peace. A Muslim with the internet is the most powerful Muslim as far as I'm concerned, because the internet is the wave of the future, and a place like YouTube is where everything's happening. I think a war could be stopped or started right out of YouTube. There are stories that the American media has tried to suppress. YouTube posts it. 3 days later, all the press picks it up because it gets 10 million views. I believe more Muslims are going to get killed in Iraq and in Afghanistan because of Fort Hood. Although this guy wanted to make a difference because he was angry about what was happening, he actually increased the oppression. The guy who did the airplane attack where trying to blow himself up, he made life more miserable for Muslims all over the world. What's the opposite of that? Well, I'd say the opposite of an event like that is having Muslims do something that's peaceful in America or where in the West. In America, when our soldiers come home from war, they do not get a celebration. You know, World War II was over. Our American boys came back. They were heroes. They were loved. There were ticker tape parades. Guys come back from Afghanistan and Iraq. They show up at the airport. There's nobody there. There's nothing. That shows we don't even respect our own military. Veterans Day, Memorial Day, people are out there eating hot dogs, drinking beer. They don't even think about our veterans. Our Vietnam veterans, they got dumped on. People spat on them sometimes when they came home. They got no respect. So a group of Vietnam vets, led by this one guy, whenever he goes out to the airport, when he hears troops are coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq, and he greets them. Very simply. It made national news. Now imagine this. Imagine if a group of Muslims, American Muslims, got together and got flowers, and every time troops came back from Afghanistan or Iraq, wherever, there was a group of Muslims there waiting to greet them. Simply hand them a flower, welcome home. We're glad to have you home. I would never do that. They're killers, they're killers. You hand them the flower. In a short period of time, it makes national news. These Muslims are over there greeting American soldiers. Why would they be doing that? Well, you know, in their hearts, they're going over there for the right reasons. They don't know whether their war is just or unjust. That's not their purpose to be there. Their purpose there is to fight or keep peace or whatever they're going to do. You find a need, which is this need where people aren't being loved when they come home. Groups of Muslims are at the airport waiting to greet the soldiers when they come home. They give them flowers. It makes national news. And all of a sudden, it starts rehumanizing Muslims in the eyes of the West, and vice versa. And then once you get past that point, you can start having the kinds of dialogues that you couldn't have before. Then you can tell them about your pain. They're not ready to hear about your pain yet and about your suffering and your loss. But as soon as you show compassion beyond your own ego, and you're willing to sacrifice ego and stand there and hand somebody who you may despise for where they've been and what they've done, you hand them a flower and you say, welcome home. Keep it very simple. A simple event like that could breed itself into full integration between Muslims and non-Muslims, and it could cause the armed forces to get in an uproar and say, you know what, we've got to stop invading these countries. We've got to get out of here. I mean, this is the sorts of things that can make a difference. So let me know what you think about this idea. This lady here in America, her son was murdered by another young man. No one could reach this young man. He didn't have any family. He went to prison, life sentence. Yeah, visiting days, no one came to visit this guy because no one cared about him. He was a killer. Guess who came to visit him? The mother of the boy he killed. She started visiting with him, and they became friends. She started showing him pictures of her son that he killed. He broke down. All of a sudden, he had an epiphany. He realized that he affected a real person. When he got to know that mother and loved that mother, that woman, he suffered deeply because he realized what he had taken away from her. And when he got out of prison, he had nowhere to live. And she adopted him, and he moved into her house. Sounds crazy? Brutal killer, now adopted son. That's peace. It's not easy, it hurts. It defies hateful logic.
Flavor on America!